All right, so we are working now on problem 3-4. I have saved this as the Cavalier oblique. So we're going to make sure that we do a Cavalier oblique instead of the cabinet oblique that is being asked for in the textbook. Remember, a Cavalier oblique, the projection back is full scale. So we're going to start out by creating a sketch on the front plane. This is going to be the same as we did when we were working on the isometric. So we're just going to draw that L shape in here. Oops, now notice I kind of messed up right there. So I'm going to right click and hit OK. Let's undo that and come back and replace a line. So sometimes if you get too quick on the trigger finger, that happens. Not a big deal. Just hit undo and go back and redraw the line. All right, now I've got my L shape. Now I'm going to add some dimensional constraints. So this is 1.5 in terms of my height. My width of this part is 3.25. So let's set that. I know that this dimension right here should be 0.5, and I know that this dimension here should be 0.5. Now, I'm pulling those right off of the front view there on our orthographic projection drawing or a multi-view drawing. So there's my sketch as far as the front plane. Now I'm going to keep this in sketch mode right now because I'm going to do the actual Cavalier oblique as well. And if you remember, that means that our scale is the same as it is in real life. So in this case, our depth here is 1.5. So I got to go back in, and now every place I've got an intersection point, I'm going to come back up and make a line 1.5. And we're going to tab over. This should be at 45 degrees. So there's the 45 degrees. Now I'm going to right click, hit repeat line. I'm going to do the same thing from this point. So 1.5, tab, 45, get that placed. Right click, repeat line, click that intersection, 1.5, oops. So notice how far out I went. So let's fix this, 45 degrees, and this will be 1.5. Brings it back in. I can go ahead and hit enter to bring that to where it should be. Repeat the line from this point here, 1.5, tab, 45 degrees. And I've got one more projection line right here. This is going to be 1.5, tab, 45 as well. So now I've got those lines. They are all parallel with each other, and they should be. So now I can just go back and connect the dots, so to say. So I'm going to connect that from here to here. We'll connect that. Now, when I did this before, notice, so I did not actually click on that dot, so I kind of picked up something else here. So let's hit undo here with that particular line, and let's try this one over. So we want to go from here to here. So as you start to work on these, be careful. Make sure that you are actually hitting the right lines as you go. Notice from here to there, closes that off. And then I also have from here to there. So there we go. So that kind of gives me that too. So I'm going to get rid of some of these for right now, just so we can see where we're at. So making sure that we see the exact lines here and the way this should be looking. So because we're getting all of these in there, it's a little congested. So let's clear that out. That way you can have a good view of what that should be. Let's go ahead and delete that one out. And I'm going to delete a couple more of these here. All right. So now this is what the L shape would look like. But if you remember, we've got some other stuff going on. So we have a cutout up here as well. So, and we know that that was about halfway back. So, so we can kind of come in here. I can use the midpoints, and I can draw that line. And we also know that from the front view up to here, so we'll go and draw a line from there to there. Now I want to dimension that line, and we'll say from here to there is 1 inch. I actually got that pretty good. So just to make sure that that is where I want it to be. Now, in order to place this, we've then got to connect the dots from here up to there, and from here up to there. So once I do that, I see where that cutout should be. And now let's trim some of the rest of these. I don't need that at this point. So now I can kind of start to get rid of these because they're not needed. And that's what that should look like. I also don't need this dimension right now. So we want to kind of keep this cleaned up. So that's what that's going to look like. I got to do the same thing now in the back corner here. So as well. So we're going to create a line that's going to go somewhere here. This is going to be vertical. And we know that the dimension of this line from this point to here, this should be 1 inch. So we're going to go ahead and set that to 1 inch just to make sure it's in place. And I got another line that's going to come someplace around here and go back. I'm not 100% sure exactly. So let's just build a construction line. I'm going to kind of project this over a little bit this way. And I'm going to also kind of come down from here to that line. And again, we need to kind of take a look to see what that should be. We know that the dimension from this line to that corner should be 0.25. So let's go ahead and fix that. Now, notice what happened there. As soon as I did that, that shrunk everything because my dimensions, I had taken my dimensions off. So let's fix this. Let's go back, change this back to the 3.25 here just to make sure. Let's drive that back over. But notice how that messes up here and we're no longer keeping everything parallel. So we got to be careful as we start to kind of drive some of these dimensions. So let's do some other stuff here in order to make sure that that doesn't happen to us. So let's delete this out. So, and if I come back here now, so I'm going to place another line in. Now, I know I can place it here. Let's be a little bit more conscious of where that's going to go, like that. And if I was to really say, all right, well, we know that this back corner will basically intersect with these points. So we could kind of use this line and kind of drive this. So let's see what we got in the modify tools here. Notice I got this modify extend. So I can kind of keep extending this line over till it matches. All right. So now let's put the dimension on that one. All of this is just construction right now, so that's 3.25, just to make sure that this dimension stays and doesn't force some changes here. So now we know this should be 0.25. Let's watch, make sure it doesn't move anything. So okay, so that gets that put in place. Now, at this point, I can kind of come back in here. I'm going to delete some of these lines back out now. So I do need to kind of keep these points because I'm going to see from here and zoom in to there. And we're also going to go from here to there. So we're going to create this geometry. Now let's go back and I'm going to cut some of this stuff back out now. This is where you're going to be watching, making sure that you're cutting out the right stuff. So, and that is the section back there. I also don't need this line in there anymore. So that, or that one. That was just me kind of constructing. Remember, you got to kind of view how these corners and everything come in. So, all right, so that's where we're at with that section. The last thing we have left then is this rectangle, which is really going to kind of be looking more like your diamond. So let's kind of come back in here and see what we can do with this now. So I know that I'm going to have a line going this way, and if we remember, that should be 1.75 long. Okay, and we'll come up. So as we think about this, again, this is going to project at 45 degrees as well. And in this case, the length of this, we have to do a little bit of math. 1.25 minus the 0.25, so this should be 1 inches. Going that way. Now, we're pretty close to there, but that's all right. We're going to kind of see if we can bring this down. So if I go and measure between the two of these, now those two should be 0.25. And if we do that, it kind of moves it up and it's going to be lost in there. And what you have to think about is, okay, why is that the case? Well, if you really think about it, it's really not going to show 0.25 in this dimension. The actual dimension of that would be what we call the align dimension. So it would really be 0.25 along this way, and this is why this isn't really working out like that. So let's delete this out, and let's kind of see if we can get that dimension in an align, what they call an aligned. And if I go in and say change this dimension, it's not letting us. So we will have to kind of figure out what that will be and how we'll. So that does give us a little bit of a challenge as we go through and start to look at this, but that's not a big deal. We've got a general idea of what this looks like now, so it's just a matter of us figuring out how to dimension this correctly in order to get this taken care of.